It's obvious that if you're traveling for a long distance, you're expected to pay more. If your distance is a short one, you pay less, although there are other factors that also come into play. But we charge them different fares depending on the period of the year, the seasons. Like I said, the first thing is the seat per nautical mile, how far you're going. Then we have to charge fares to cover our operational costs and to make profit, to stay in business. So these are the basic elements you consider in any fare you are giving to your customers. You should be able to survive in the business and at the same time make your passengers comfortable, not to overcharge them. If a passenger is paying well in advance, for instance, 2 weeks, a month ahead before, we'll give you lower fare because we are keeping your money. Your money enables us to plan ahead. So such money becomes handy in our planning. So we don't just keep your money and charge you as if we're taking it now. For the fact that their money has been with us and we've used it in our planning, we give you a lower fare. But for those who are coming to buy just at the last minute, their fares are usually higher. So that is why you see people buying their ticket today at the airport, paying higher than those who bought their ticket 2-3 weeks earlier. And it varies from, as you're buying, the fares are going up. So as you keep your money, as you buy ahead, it becomes cheaper. So it's to the interest of the passenger to buy ahead. So before the day of the flight, we know how much we'll have, how many passengers, what size of aircraft we are going to deploy. But now, if we don't have in advance an idea of how many passengers are going to fly, we might be deploying an overcapacity, which will mean a loss to us. So this is why we give them that preference of buying ahead and getting a lower fare. We have flexible fares and non-flexible fares. There are some fares that are low, so low that we give it to stimulate the market. And those fares are not refundable. So it's just to help the passengers and to help us stimulate the market. So they're not refundable. But when you buy at the higher fares, we call them flexible fares. You can make changes as you want. You can get your refund at will. So these are the preferences you have. What do you want? There are business people who don't want to have anything to do with non-flexible fare. They want to be sure that if they don't travel, they can use the ticket another day. So they are ready to pay any amount. So we give them that option. So we don't need to classify everybody together as one. People who travel for different purposes. And that's why we have to recognize those classes of passengers and then provide different buckets for them. Okay. Even the business class, we have 2 buckets for the business class. For those who plan ahead and those who want to travel now. If you want to travel now, that means we didn't plan that you're traveling now. Your fare will be higher than those who planned ahead.
On a special report, see the impact of air traffic controllers on the new terminal in Dakar, Senegal, and the effect of a power cut on a U.S. airport. Air traffic controllers are a very important group of professionals in the aviation value chain. Without their expertise, planes will not be able to take off or land. And that's exactly what happened when air traffic controllers in Senegal shut down the capital Dakar's newly inaugurated airport last week, saying they were striking to protect travelers after they received inadequate training before the facility opened this month. The government is optimistic that the new $680 million airport, which opened on December the 7th, will help make Senegal a transport hub in West Africa and boost the country's tourism sector. The head of the company that manages the airport said at least 5,000 passengers had been affected and the industrial action was bad for the airport and for the country's image.
With air traffic interrupted, it means some 30 flights won't come here today. That's around 5,000 passengers. So of course it's an important loss for the airports, but first and foremost, it's an incredible inconvenience for passengers and for the airlines.
But the president of the union representing the airport's air traffic controllers said his members had called a 24-hour strike for people's security.
Déjà du côté formation, les contrôleurs qui doivent assurer la.
On the training side, controllers' responsibilities to ensure air safety have already been trained at college and are capable, but it's not enough. We need equipment in the control tower to help us do our job correctly. In theirs, there is new latest generation equipment that has been installed. We've not been trained on that equipment. All we're doing with that equipment is to do the maximum to ensure what we can. But the danger is there. We need to be trained on that equipment. That is one issue. The other issue is transport. The controller who takes 2 hours to come to work is a tired man, and it's a potential danger to air navigation.
He also said that with the airport at some 50 kilometers from Dakar, controllers are arriving at the airport already tired, which adds to the stress and danger, and is demanding increased stipends from employees' transport to the airport. The union insists the strike will be extended if the workers' terms are not met. The airport is Senegal's busiest, with scheduled flights by international carriers including Air France and Ethiopian Airlines. Last year, the country launched a new national carrier, Air Senegal, which ordered 2 new Airbus A330 jets last month. And now to another airport, this time in the USA, where one of the heaviest travel weeks of the year began with the cancellation of hundreds of flights at the world's busiest airport in Atlanta, owing to a power outage that left passengers stranded in docking terminals or in aircraft idling on tarmacs.
This here is a mess for the last 3 hours. I mean, things happen. If the power went out, understandable. But not to have a backup plan, nobody coming out telling us what's going on. Somebody at least says, you know, it goes a long way to just say what's happening. You can't reach the airline to get a different flight because the system is down. This is a mess.
We get to the airport and we arrive to darkness and 1 million people, and we're like, oh no, not again. But it's not Delta's fault, you know.
The outage paralyzed operations at the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, so authorities distributed water to passengers.
We provided shelters, and then because the power was out, it impacted our ability to provide food and comfort. We immediately started distributing water, but this was a situation where the judgment, as angry and frustrated as people were, was better to keep the folks on the facility to the extent that we could. We can always do a better job of communicating, but whenever you have thousands of passengers who are stuck on planes, I really don't believe that there's any pleasant message other than we have the power restored, and this is when we're going to have the airport fully operational so that you can move on with your lives.
Georgia Power, the utility that provides electricity to the sprawling airport, said the failure was linked to a fire in an underground electrical facility which damaged substations serving Hartsfield. The intensity of the blaze damaged access to a backup system. Although power was restored, the incident continued to wreak havoc on holiday travel plans for thousands of people affected by airline cancellations extending into Monday, the 18th of December.
I started going, what? Yes! Yeah. You know, just excited. Could be. Oh, it's up and going. Now we can power up our cell phones, and it's just wonderful. We look around and everything's happy again.
Delta said it was cancelling about 300 flights in addition to its earlier 900 cancellations. The incident led the Federal Aviation Administration to ground flights bound for Atlanta. American Airlines and Southwest Airlines were also among the major carriers that suspended operations.
When we return after the break, News Flash will be next. Do join us again.